really? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't, because if you pull the pin, that also means we don't get the scene of the kiss as well. We don't get that scene as well. We could just not have that, and that would be pretty good, actually.
That would be pretty good, actually.
That'd be quite nice, you know.
So,
I don't think that happens in the games. I'll be honest. I don't think.
No.
From my understanding,
No.
I don't think that's in the game. No.
No.
To set it up in the so okay, I'll set both up and then we can talk about it. So in the game, Tess gets bitten and Fedra are on the way. So Fedra are coming and Tess says, "Hey, I've been bitten. If there was anything ever between us, if this ever meant anything, you take this girl and you get her to the Fireflies." And she says, "I will cover you. You go." And Tess goes down in a hail of gunfire, taking out Fedra as they come into the building. Right? And here, it's zombies instead. And specifically, the sequence before that is almost frame for frame. It's pretty damn impressive, honestly. Where she's like, if there's anything ever here, then you need to do this for me. And as the zombies come in, she fusses around, like gets an oil can kicked over, and then has a lighter. And as you said, instead of grabbing the grenade, she's trying to spark the lighter as the zombies come in, and it's left ambiguous as to, there's a zombie that's getting really close to her, and it's left ambiguous as to whether she's letting it get close because it's the cordyceps taking over, because she's given up. It's unclear. She sparks the lighter at the last second. It falls down, and they all get blown up, and Joel and Ellie escape. But as this happens, you get this like really going for the gross out moment where the zombie like goes to for want of a better word, it goes to kiss her, and the kind of tentacles come out, and as they kiss, she drops the lighter and the explosion goes off. And if they were going for the gross out, they certainly achieved that. I just don't understand. Like, I've heard Druckmann and Mazin talk about this, and like every explanation they have just doesn't work for me. Like I don't like it. I just don't like it. I think it's weird. I think it's unnecessary. What are y'all's thoughts?
I feel like I'm not a big enjoyer of zombie media. That's why it took me so long to play this game originally. And I feel like this scene leans into everything I dislike about zombie media, or any like kind of monster media, I guess, for lack of a better word. Just like kind of this gross out spectacle that really just felt out of place for the type of storytelling that The Last of Us is known, the caliber of storytelling that's known for doing.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good.
Yeah, it
honestly, hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I have the show makes a lot of change. Well, not a lot of changes, but by the normal standards of just adaptation. Things happen, things change. That's how that works. This is literally the only change that I just unambiguously hate. Like there's like everything else. I'm like, okay, sure, one way or another, I either like it or it's fine or not sure. This, I'm just like, no, there was no reason to do it. It's just kind of gross and disturbing and kind of uncomfortably, not necessarily sexual because it's just a kiss, but like adding that dimension of it at all, of physical intimacy, to this act just feels very bad, and it doesn't do anything with it. It's not metaphorically significant or symbolic of anything or whatever, as far as I can tell. It's just literally a gross out thing that never happens at any other point in the entire show. Like, I would be a little more forgiving of it if they'd established that this is like how they intentionally spread it or something, but it's not. They bite people, that's usual, and this is not a thing that's ever been seen before and is never seen after. It's just a weird thing that happens this once, and it's gross and it's really squicky.
Yeah.
It feels low and unnecessary and just bad for no reason.
It's weird because, if you look at the whole season as a whole, that scene, like the whole scene with all the zombies coming in, that feels weird. It does, like, it feels a bit out of place even in the actual season of TV. I think
Yeah.
I kind of understand why they potentially made some of the changes, in the sense of something like, there's not as many zombies in the show, which good. I like that, but it's a thing of like, they have to show they're through this, they're showing how the zombies can communicate through all that, like through, which I think is a really interesting way to do it. But that makes any time they interact with one zombie terrifying, which then doesn't quite 100% pay off as much as I'd think it might in like the rest of it. But like, it feel like, I think the federal way of doing it might have been that feels better. That feels like, okay, that makes more sense. They're on the run because one of them is dead, and they can act like one of the guys is dead. And like, okay, we know who it is. We can like kind of work out where they're going and doing that. That feels like it makes more sense. But yeah, the only reason I can really see this is just, like, to show how the zombies work, which again, they do the kiss, which doesn't come up ever again, and it's really weird. And also just to show like more zombies, it's a show with zombies existing in it, so they're gonna show that off more. Which also comes back later on when we do see a big group of zombies again, in which my roommate's like, there is a lot more there than there were in the game. There's just too many.
But then that moment later mechanically is also different, because it's not that there's a hive thing; it's that they make a bunch of fucking noise because the truck falls.
Yeah,
out, right?
it's
Right.
it. I don't think it quite works as like, it's a weird change.
It feels like a scene from a different version of this reality almost. The way that I described it when I was writing all my notes for this is, this feels like a version of The Last of Us if it was written by Stephen King in the 80s. Like, there is some real Tommy Knocker maneuver shit happening here. It's like, strange thing comes to world, assimilates people weirdly sexual. When they're assimilated, infection must be stopped. Like, it's kind of, this is like, honestly, this is a scene in the Tommy Knockers, like, shot for shot. And so it makes me wonder to what extent, like, this just, to the point before I was making about genre, this really it just pulls you out of it, because you're like, what is happening? Like, what is this? And then, because it doesn't come up again, I'm just perplexed by it.
It's so stretched out too. Like, the scene just keeps going and
does.
going, and you're like, please let it end. Like,
There was legitimately a moment where I was just like, oh no, like, is it not gonna work? Is Tess just gonna end up, like, being brutally killed by all these things or whatever? Because that seems needlessly cruel. And then it just did that, and I was like, well, that's just needlessly gross then. Like, what?
I want to
I
pull
don't
a
know.
grenade. Like,
Yeah, honestly, I'd have... Yeah, like, it you know, the grenade and stuff would have been smarter and all that, but I don't necessarily... Like, people can make dumb decisions in those situations or choose to do things in the not the most efficient manner or whatever. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Like, literally, I'd have no problem with this scene if they just, like, cut it before the zombie sees her and does the kiss or whatever. If that one part wasn't in it, I'd be fine.
If
but
it was 20 seconds shorter and you just cut to the outside, like,
Yeah.
it's really not a complicated change, I don't think.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on, because it's just a sucky suck topic to talk about, and I don't like it.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout outs to Tommy Knockers. Don't read it, but maybe do. I don't know. If there are parts of this where you're like, man, I wonder what Stephen King would do with all these ideas if he was like just buzzed out of his mind on cocaine and beer. That's a book for you.